Hillary Clinton makes pitch for mandate and a swing state sweep. Cleveland, Hillary Clinton entered the final phase of her campaign on Friday, working to ensure a victory that is decisive enough to earn a mandate for her presidency and a surge of voters to help Democrats win congressional races. Emerging from a 9-day absence from the trail, Mrs. Clinton seized on the momentum of her performance in the final presidential debate, choosing Ohio, a battleground state where she has struggled the most against Donald J. Trump, as her first stop on a 4-day swing. With new polls showing Mrs. Clinton closing in on Mr. Trump in the state, her campaign is glimpsing the opportunity for a clean sweep of traditional swing states. Reminding voters of Mr. Trump's refusal in Wednesday's debate to say definitively he would accept the outcome on Election Day, Mrs. Clinton said that as Secretary of State she had visited countries whose leaders jailed political opponents and invalidated elections they did not win. "We know in our country the difference between leadership and dictatorship," she said. She also portrayed herself as the candidate who could attract independent, undecided and even Republican voters unhappy with Mr. Trump's campaign. "I want to say something to people who may be reconsidering their support of my opponent," she said. "I know you still may have questions for me. I respect that. I want to answer them. I want to earn your vote." Her stop here marked the start of a rare multi-day tour of swing states as the Clinton campaign revved up its efforts to decisively defeat Mr. Trump on November 8, including releasing a powerful minute-long ad featuring Khizr Khan, the father of a Muslim American soldier killed in Iraq. The ad featuring Mr. Khan, who was attacked by Mr. Trump after he spoke at the Democratic convention, will run in Ohio, Florida, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, as well as other crucial states. With Mrs. Clinton holding a healthy lead in most national polls, Democrats have turned their focus to trying to ensure a victory by as large a margin as possible, deploying Michelle Obama in Arizona and President Obama in Florida. The larger the victory, the less Mr. Trump and his supporters can claim foul play, Mrs. Clinton's allies said. A month ago, Ohio seemed to be aligning as a Trump stronghold as its large bloc of white working-class voters responded to Mr. Trump's economic populism and America First message. But the state is now back in play, with a poll from Suffolk University in Boston showing a tied race. Mrs. Clinton's afternoon rally at a community college in Cleveland, the heart of Democratic strength in Ohio, was aimed at increasing early voting, which began last week. While early voting has traditionally been a Democratic strength in Ohio, the data shows potential complications for Mrs. Clinton on this front. Requests for early ballots are down 22.3% in Cuyahoga County, where Cleveland is, compared with the same period in 2012. Requests are also off 12.7% in Franklin County, which includes Columbus, the capital, according to data compiled by Michael McDonald, a University of Florida professor who studies voter turnout. A decided advantage for Mrs. Clinton here is the strength of Democrats' grassroots efforts. The party has leased 93 offices statewide, according to Chris Wyant, the Clinton campaign director in Ohio. Mr. Trump's Ohio director cut ties recently with the state's Republican chairman, Matt Borges, over Mr. Borges's sharply worded public doubts about Mr. Trump. They have an internal civil war on the Republican side, Brian Fallon, Mrs. Clinton's press secretary, told reporters here. He added that 2 weeks ago, Mr. Trump was slightly ahead in the state. But Ohio is really a symbol of the progress we've made in the past 2 weeks since the first debate, he said. Ohio is not essential to Mrs. Clinton's road to the White House. She could lose it and still romp through the Electoral College given her dominance in other swing states like Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Colorado, according to polls. Mr. Trump spent the day hopscotching to rallies in North Carolina and Pennsylvania, a state where Mrs. Clinton has built a formidable lead. While he projected a subdued confidence at a rally in Fletcher, North Carolina, he also seemed to prepare for at least the possibility of an election day loss. "I don't know what kind of shape I'm in, but I'll be happy, and at least I will have known. Win, lose or draw, and I'm almost sure, if the people come out, we're going to win, I will be happy with myself," he said.